Welcome back to the Comic Book ASM Artist. Today we're doing another comic book haul, so let's get started. So, first off I'm going with the secondary comic shop, and I got something that I don't typically get. This was the special issue of Flash here, issue 750. This is the Gabriel Dell'Otto variant here. And I really like his work, and this was one where you could tell the shop if you wanted it, and they could order it. Sometimes his covers are usually on rarer variants, so I was glad I was able to get this one. So I haven't been following the Flash a lot, but I have heard a lot of really good things about them trying to give him back a redemptive arc after their whole heroes in crisis nonsense and all of that. So this is done by a bunch of different artists here as well, so you can see the different stories there as well as the pin-ups and all that good stuff. But let's see. Here's a nice. So one thing, whenever they do this square bounding, it kind of squashes the double page spreads like this because it cinches the middle. I remember Tony S. Daniel did a great one in I think it was the Wedding Annual or Batman 50 or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it was like too creased down the middle, so like I think Batman's face was like looked all wonky because of it. Let's see. Here's another one here. And we get to see some pin-ups here. Impulse down there, they did a good job with him. I like this one by Doc Shaner here. Seems like they're more upfront about labeling who did what. I don't think they did that with the Wonder Woman book very well here. I think hers was 752. But yeah, whenever they release these big books like this, I'm trying to get them. I know they have a Joker and a Catwoman one coming up, and then I just saw they solicited one for a Green Lantern too, so I'll be getting that when it comes out. There's another pin up there. Another artist here. That's a cool shot there. And then they have this guy again, who he did a thing in Wonder Woman 2 where he was looking at making her more tough looking. So here it looks like he's added a bit of elasticity to the Flash here, I would imagine, to imply the speed of him, you know, because he definitely doesn't typically make them look that distorted. Well, he does have a distorted style, but I feel like it's been rubberized here for effect. But I don't know the artist off the top of my head. Riley Rossmo. Another cool one. And there's been different iterations of Flash and stuff, so I'm not 100% on all the different versions or anything like that, so I'm sure I'll hear from you guys in the comments about that, but it's fine. I am just glad that I was able to get this, you know. So this is the big deal here. Um, this version of the Flash, he was the one who got smeared. This is Wally West here, and now he is in the Mobius chair. And when you're in this chair, you can get the powers of a god. So this is gonna do some interesting stuff for the DC universe, and I think it's gonna kind of push things forward to the whole 5G thing. I think they're still gonna go ahead with it in the effect of at least doing the one shots, but I don't think they're gonna do a brand line launch affecting all the DC books like they had initially intended. I think that was possibly what the Dio split was about. I could be wrong. I mean, it's all rumors and stuff, but I have a suspicion, because even recently I heard Jim Lee say they weren't going to do a line-wide thing, but he was implying about 5G without going public because they can't officially announce it yet, I guess. But yeah, so this book is crucial. This is pretty much the outcome of the current 6-part Flash miniseries. This is the outcome of that, so want to pick this up if you've been following that for sure. Next we have Spider-Man number 39. And as you may have guessed from the cover, this is really all about a rift being put again between JJ and Spider-Man, I would imagine. So they're pally here, and they have been for a little while. But I suspect something will happen to cause tension and kind of put things back to where they were, because they've always been at odds, so I think that the writer just had kind of a brief period where he's like, what would it look like if they were chummy, and then he's just put them at odds with each other again. And an ad insert in here. I am curious about these Marvel snapshots. I know that Alex Ross is doing the covers for them. And he is doing some, I think he's like helping co-write or something. But, we missed the days of him doing full stories. But I think he might even have something where he's doing part of one of the one-shots or something. And then we have Spider-Man number 40. Same creative team, same artists on here. And yeah, we've been seeing this pretty much harkens back a lot to whenever Todd McFarlane first took over on Amazing Spider-Man here. I believe it was his first. I think it was 298 or something like that. So the cover kind of mimics that a little bit. It at least jogs your memory of it. It's not like a total reskin or a tribute cover rather, but it is like inspired by, I would say. So I don't know much about this guy here. I guess he's involved with like gambling rackets and stuff. He was never really a villain who was on my radar. I'm even blanking on his name. I want to say it's Chance. But yeah, Chance, I think. And then they say here, so. But I think he's just kind of a mercenary type of guy, and just a villain with some tech who every now will pop up to inconvenience Spider-Man. Next we have Spider-Man The Black Cat Strikes #2. This is from the PlayStation Gamerverse Spider-Man. And as I've said prior, I think this is a reference to the DLC from that game, but I haven't played that DLC, so I'm not sure if this is a total recreation of that story or not. But that's what we're looking at. So yeah, this stack here is my month's worth of books from the other shop, by the way. I know I told you all that I was gonna pare down my stuff, so this is the result of that, so it's a little more manageable. So this is the Immortal Hulk, #31. And I think this might be the start of a brand new arc. They were doing some stuff with some weird creatures, and I think I'm trying to remember what that guy's name was, but he was like some sort of corporate guy and stuff, and just a really weird arc for this particular story. So yeah, he's sicking these different beasts on the Hulk here. I guess it's to the point now where the Hulk is kind of back in a positive light to the public, so this corporate guy is trying to take Hulk down a peg, and I believe he's trying to get this guy to take over and looked at as a hero over the Hulk. So yeah, this guy right here. Just a really weird arc. And like 25 issues ago, it was all about the Hulk going to hell, essentially. And then they switched to, let's see what Wall Street's doing. Because, like, this guy right here, he's like the main boss of the Roxxon company, which is pretty much a nod to the Exxon company in real life, the oil company, I believe. So some sort of underlying stuff there, but I'm not really too all into that. When I got this book, it was just really about the bizarre side of things. The Bruce Banner pretty much coming back to life every night as the Hulk, and then not being out in the day, and just really, really weird and interesting. So this is the X-Men Fantastic Four #2. This is the Mark Brooks variant. I believe it does connect to the previous cover. I think the print on this one's a darker tone, though. I didn't pull it out and compare it, but it seems like it's a darker coloring. And the Dodsons are doing the art on this, and Chip Zdarsky is writing it, and the first one was really good. So it's pretty much the X-Men, as you all know, have their island that they've made, and they want Franklin Richards to be a part of that, because he is technically a mutant. So they want him to come to the island with the other mutants. And Franklin wanted to go there, he stowed away with Kitty Pryde on their ship. And then when they went to do the portal thing to go through the island or whatever, he, the X gene, as it's typically referred to in the comics, or at least has been in the past, Reed Richards did something to deactivate it, so he couldn't officially pass through the portal that more or less reads that gene and accepts you into the island. He just walked right through it. So now him and Kitty Pryde are just kind of marooned and dealing with some Doctor Doom related issues. Meanwhile, his parents are upset that he has disappeared, and yeah. Next is X-Men number 6. It's weird that waiting to get your stuff once a month, you kind of forget a little bit of what's going on. I'm still hung up on issue 4, I think, when they had the United Nations meeting. And, they were having people trying to take out mutants from behind the scenes at the meetings, but the X-Men laid waste to them. And I can't really recall what happened in the previous issue. So, I don't know. But yeah, I do recommend, if you have a pull box, make sure to get in there and clear it out once a month, because that is the shop's inventory and it does throw them out of whack. So, and when they have to report like sales and things like that, when they have your whole stack of stuff waiting for you, and you come every couple months or 3 months or whatever, that puts a great strain on them. So definitely still get a box, but be mindful of the store as well. So this is X-Men number 7. And I would imagine it just picks up right where the other issue left off. Looks like we have a different artist on this one. I think this is the typical artist in the current. Yeah, it's a little Francis Yu. He's been doing stuff with the moon here. I'm not really sure what that's about. I know in the past Magneto had like his moon base, so I think that might be where they're at presently, but I don't know. Here's a nice action shot for you. I try not to spoil the books too much, but at the same time I do want to showcase the art so you guys can have a good idea what you're getting into. But most modern comics, it seems like there's a lot of dialogue in them, or a lot of conversations rather, a lot of standing around, not so much dynamic, like talking while fighting. There's a lot of just people being together in a room talking, which is fine for like plot points and stuff, but you pick up a comic book, and you're typically ready for action, and then you're just kind of slowed down by lots of dialogue, So this is a special here. This is the Jean Grey, Emma Frost, giant-sized one-shot. This is still written by Hickman. He's doing a line of, I think, 5 or so different titles, or different one-shots, rather. Pairing of different X-Men together to kind of highlight the dynamic, I believe. So, This is the artist on here is not one I've seen before in the books I've been getting. Like a smoother, like rounder style. I'll have to bust out my little card where they translate the X-Men alphabet for you there, or the mutant alphabet. So we'll see how that goes. This is a cool image here. So it looks like there's a lot of silent moments in this particular book, yeah. So it'd be interesting to read this and see the what it's about. So the artist here is Russell Dodderman. So good job, Russell. That is not a style that I've seen yet, but I am enjoying that. Very beautiful dynamic, especially with the women here. You know, it complements them well. And then the store likes to have things you can, where they just give away. So they gifted, there's like a rack where you can pick whatever you want. So they didn't directly give this stuff to me, but they have like a giveaway bin. So I got a ton more marketing posters here. I'm not going to unravel every bit of them just because they're super large. So this is the Wolverine #1 new series relaunch poster, which I'm sure you all have seen. There we go. By Adam Kubert. So if he ever comes to a con, I'll get him to sign that and throw that in a giveaway probably. I have met him in the past already, so I've got a Batman print by him signed. And then this is the Adam Hughes Gwen Stacy poster here. Let's see this one. I don't want to open them from the bottom like I did on that Wolverine one. Alright, this one here is for the upcoming event. I'm blanking on the name of it. Empire. And I don't know if I'm picking that one up yet or not. I might. Just the main line. When I do the big events, I know they have like 1,500 different crossovers. But it's just a 6-issue miniseries, so I might pick it up because they always have it affect status quo and stuff. So it's kind of like if you don't read the big event, you're usually a little lost. So there's the Strange Academy poster here. This just released, the series just released this week, I believe. It's the Berto Ramos poster there. Same thing, any of these, whenever the artists come, I usually try to get them to sign them. And then, typically we'll put them in a giveaway. So, here is the Joelle Jones Catwoman. A little one here, this Deadpool versus Thanos. It's double-sided. The Age of Ultron coloring book here. This random fight card here for Civil War II. I really liked the paper quality on this. It's kind of just like a glossy sheen sort of a thing. Are they too crazy about like the team fighting here? A cool design and a nice texture on there. So then I got the Wonder Woman 750 poster here. This shows the main cover for that particular special. This is the one I'm excited about the most. This is the Tony S. Daniel poster for the current Batman run from the issue that's selling for crazy amounts online, or the brief Punchline cameo. I'll probably keep that one, obviously. And they have one for the Legion of Superheroes here. It's a very nice, bright poster. And then this is the Birds of Prey promo for the current Black Label series. And she's doing her thing where she's talking to the reader, because this is the main cover here. So from that we move on to the stuff from my home shop, my favorite shop. And let's see, this is upside down here. So we have Batman number 90. Get on the series if you're not following it. I'm sure all of you guys are, but doing a lot of crazy things. We've got Jorge Jimenez on the art right now. He is killing it. On his Instagram, he's been posting the black and white images. This isn't his style, though. This is... Let's see. Oh, well. This looks a lot like the guy who did the previous issue stuff. The curves and stuff, he's typically more angular, I would say, but alright, I guess I was wrong on that one. But he's been showing like his black and whites of all these pages here, and they're just really visually striking, very dynamic. I think Batman's kind of one of those dream projects for him, so he is really putting in a lot of effort into it. And I was able to sell some of my books, so ones that I really didn't care about, so I am repurposing the bags. The person didn't even want the bags to affect the price of the book, so I was like, okay, well, I constantly buy bags and boards, so if I don't have to buy those, then it's $25 less I have to spend, so it's typically about that. Boards are usually around 10 for 100, and bags are usually around 12 or so for 100. So this is the variant cover for Batman number 90. So obviously same insides, There's the big bad in this story arc here. He's called the Designer. Looks very eclectic. And of course, nice card stock there. And this Riddler is interesting. You see all the question mark scars on him here. They're trying to make him look scarier. But I don't think he's done that to himself in the book, at least not yet anyway. Although he does look pretty malnourished right now. Alright, next is Detective Comics 1020. This beautiful cover here, another card stock. Love this guy's work. So this is a prologue here. I'm trying to remember what's been happening in Detective Comics. We see Two-Face is what this current arc is about, it looks like. So I look forward to reading that. Two-Face is one of my favorite Batman villains. But Batman has so many good, memorable villains that it's hard to pick, you know. Bug me. I'm blanking on the artist for the variant cover, but I know I love his stuff here. Yeah, Lee Bermejo. He does great stuff though. I still need to read his he did a Lex Luthor one shot, I guess, too. I know he did the Joker one, and I read that, which a lot of people believe is where the Heath Ledger Joker's design got based. But I haven't read his Lex Luthor one. So this is Batman Superman number 7. And there is a different artist on this. So I really liked the previous artist a lot. This one is a different type of style than that one. The thicker inking lines and stuff. It's still, 1,000 times better than I could do on the technical side of it, but whenever you have the thicker outline, I don't like it as much, I guess. But it kind of has a little bit of the feel to it, like the Batman Year One book with Musicali on there. This is a cool shot here, though, them both coming down. I like that. And even the coloring is just slightly muted. There's kind of like a grayish wash over everything here. In the previous one, there was a lot brighter, more vivid colors. But yeah, I think the coloring does complement this particular style, but it is definitely a visual contrast from the previous 6 issues. So, but it looks like they have gotten away from the whole Batman Who Laughs, Year of the Villain arc. Like, this is definitely kind of a huge deal. Zod and Ra's al Ghul teaming up, But the previous one, it was definitely just felt like a spillover from Batman Who Laughs, Batman Metal, all that. And this is more of a blended thing, which is kind of good since it is Batman and Superman, and we see 2 threats pertaining to each character there. It's kind of cool. Action Comics number 1020. It's right here. Other nice cardstock cover. And yeah, we continue to see John Romita Jr. on this particular arc. And I'm surprised he doesn't typically stick around on books much anymore. But we see this one is guest starring Young Justice. And Superman will be guest starring in a Young Justice book too, I believe. So I think they kind of complement each other. So this story is still kind of in between the whole Leviathan, the Year of the Villain theme. So if you've been following that, I'd say this is still something you would want to pick up. And we see, I keep blanking on what they call him. Apex Lex, that's it. So but yeah, this is still really feels like a connection to Hero the Villain. So if you're following all that stuff, you want this book. And we have Curse of the White Knight, number 7. This is the Harley Quinn variant cover. Nice, simple outline here. And you got Batman on the back. I would say that this Batman here is really the inspiration for the look on the Robert Pattinson new Batman coming out. Because he does his cape, his collar is not all the way popped up like that, but it definitely has a ridge to it. I'd say about to the neckline, there's a ridge, not the extra part here. But and then even the car too, they just showed off the Batmobile, and it kind of has more of a muscle car feel to it. So it's even that's kind of inspired by the type of stuff that Sean's been doing with his work here. So I don't know if he's divulged that information or not, but I have a sinking suspicion since this book is doing so well, and they've just given Sean Gordon Murphy his own imprint within DC, nicknamed the Murphyverse. I think they're just trying to call it like the White Knight universe or whatever. This is a cool shot of the As-Bat, as we call it. But yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. And then I have to show off. And we've got a reference to the classic Keaton car here. I always love that. Yeah, this book makes fun references to like the animated series and the movies and stuff. Because even Joker is Jack Napier in this. Next we have the Jenica Miniseries, issue number 1. So this is a 4-part miniseries. It's 5 too. This would typically be a $4 book, so not a cardstock cuff or anything, so you've got to watch them, I guess. This is the first time that I realized that this was a $5 book. So yeah, this is like a much quicker style in this book here. You can see just a lot of quick line work. So, not highly detailed. And I think this kind of deals with her still personally thinking about when she used to be human, because She was mutated from a blood transfusion with Donatello, if I remember correctly. And yeah, the whole mutant thing is new to her. So being a human for so long and suddenly being turned into a Ninja Turtle is a bit shocking, I would imagine. But that's what this story is about. And even the current ongoing, I would say this takes place way before that, because the ongoing Turtles is set, I think, 5 years into the future right now or something. So I think that'll feel like a different book. And we have the Turtles Urban Legends number 22. This is almost done. I don't know if this is the first of the new story. Originally this was never wrapped like the writer wanted. It just kind of ended. So that's the big thing with this book, is it finally gets a series conclusion. And it'll have brand new art and all that good stuff. They said it wasn't in color before. I could have sworn I remember seeing it in color, but I don't know. Next is Hell Arisen, number 3. And I was so glad that my shop got this. This is one of the speculation books right now, because this is like the first full appearance of Punchline in here. So this is another book that's listing for around like $30 to $50, I believe, on eBay right now. So I was worried that their shop was going to be shorted with allocations. Hearing pretty much everywhere selling out of it. Obviously, with the speculation, I'm sure a lot of shops just turned around and sold theirs for higher online to get the profit off of them, you know. Sure, some of them were just snatched up in stacks or whatever, but as soon as what was shared, you know, then there was kind of no turning back on the market. But this is why I always say, get in your shop, get a box. Like I said, it's usually, if you get around 5 books, that's usually about the minimum to have a box at the shop. And they'll be able to help you out. They might not, if it's not something you've ordered through previews, you know. But let me get to... But if you, yeah, see, here's Punchline here. If you've ordered it in advance, then you're going to be secured your spot. It's a lot more likely, like I said, they do have allocations that happen, but you're not going to deal with the stress of trying to hunt it down as frequently and deal with, you know, scalpers and speculators or flippers, whatever you want to call them. So I highly recommend that. And when you're in there, like I said, do the courtesy of cleaning out your box at least once a month. Next we have Leviathan Dawn. This is a one-shot, and then they're going to have a mini-series that continues the events of this. I wasn't crazy with the way event Leviathan ended, but, you know, I'm still curious, and I still love Maylev's art at the end of the day. So this was one I was on the fence about, and I didn't think was going to be in my box. But it was in there, and I was just like, alright, I'll take it, you know. So this is a cool shot here. But yeah, the main thing, the big reveal for who Leviathan was, I don't know the character, and I didn't really have any attachment to it, so I'm sure some of you did, but for me, I didn't know that particular guy. If I remember, he's somehow related to the whole Martian Manhunter narrative, but I'm not clear on it. So, but it will be continued in series called, it's a mini series called Checkmate. So, but yeah, this continues on the same vein. It's, very gritty art style, espionage driven, so if you're into that, check this book out. Okay. And I got this through Amazon here. And this was like a quick fix for me. I was on the fence about wanting to attend Emerald City for a long time, and like I said, I think my last check I went ahead and got tickets for it, but I realized I didn't have, or rather, since everyone who worked on this book was going to be at that convention, I wanted to get this book signed by the other guys, not Jim Lee, because I already have him signing my image thing, but I wanted to get everyone else, the inker, the colorist, and the writer to sign the Superman series for me. So, but I didn't have it, and so I went on there, and this was after I looked at my local stores and stuff. I didn't see it in any of them, and this was listed for maybe $6, and I got it the other day. But as you can see, this is a an out of circulation library book here. So it had like a sticker here. There was another one here, and then it was like blacked out with marker, like a Sharpie and stuff. And there was like the slot where they would put the cardboard to write your name when you checked out the book. And then there was another sticker like here. So I went to town and used the orange-based Goo Gone solution, and I was able to remove all of those, and even like the dust jacket underneath, I had to pull it out of the plastic protective thing to get to the sticker underneath. So after about maybe 20 or so minutes of work, I was able to kind of restore it and make it a little better, but still keep the cool little protective crinkly library jacket on here. So yeah, this was a fun, interesting story. I am annoyed that this is just like the first part of it, so I have to find the other volume of this as well. But this is a really unique story in the fact that Superman deals with like struggling with pride, and he talks to a priest in here and stuff, and like that's the thing that initially kind of surprised me about it, because you don't typically see that within the major Marvel and DC comics publications. They usually skirt religious topics and stuff. So this came out around 2004, I believe. I'm not 100% on the time period, but yeah, I just kind of remember being shocked and surprised, and basically Superman comes to this priest and confides in him that he struggles with his own shortcomings, So he's talking to this guy. I'm trying to remember what he says exactly. I haven't read this recently. I just remember I read it when I was in college. Yeah, he says my sin was to save the world. So he kind of gets like swept up in his own pride of like trying to protect everyone, and dealing with the fact that he can't, but how he hates the fact that he can't save literally anyone and everyone, because he has all these abilities, but he still can't save 100% of everyone. So he kind of deals with that, and he has this thing that's like Kryptonian technology that's able to like whisk everyone away and kind of put them in a holding area. So he more or less like tries to shield most of the Earth's population into like a holding area while he deals with a huge threat. So, kind of an interesting story. A little strange and confusing at times, but Jim Lee artwork and just kind of, interesting. So, and then I do love on this cover, you've got the foiling on here and all that. But the bummer is with the coronavirus stuff that happened, this particular area, the whole Seattle, Snohomish County, all that, we've had a huge scare here. I guess the most amount of deaths have come from this area. I know the last total I heard was 12 deaths. I think that's been in the U.S., but we've had, I want to say 10 of them have been in Washington here. And it's been affecting mostly a lot of people who are older and have compromised immune systems. So, but we all are still just doing our best to wash hands and not touch your face and all that, and just kind of avoid physical touch. It's not an airborne thing, but it's like a surface-based thing. So, you can cough, and it's not your cough in the air that's contagious. It's when like the water droplets from it like land on a surface like a doorknob or whatever. Then it's like, hey, you've touched it, so now you can possibly get it. So we've been really cautious with that. And Emerald City, even up until like Thursday, they were willing to give, I think it was Wednesday, they said, hey, first time ever we've done this, we will issue refunds for those of you concerned with getting this virus. We totally understand. ReedPop never refunds tickets. They usually say, hey, if you have them, you can use our secondary site to sell them. Great, but we don't do refunds. But so with this particular thing, they said, since this is considered like the epicenter where the most stuff has happened, they understood that, so they said, hey, full refund for you guys if you want it. And they were still going to try to go ahead with it, but then by Friday, they had, I believe, around 85 creators and vendors pull out from the show, and a lot of the ones I wanted to see were already gone. I think there were 4 people left out of the 17 on my list. So, but Friday they totally said, hey, we're going to cancel Emerald City for right now, but we're going to try to move it to summer. So we don't have a date on it yet, but they're going to try to move it to summer. They're issuing full refunds to everyone for every day, as well as, photo ops, celebrity signings, all that. So, yeah, they're doing that. And I had already, Jim Lee canceled, I think, Wednesday or Thursday. So I just got my refund for his signing. But the other stuff, since it's literally every single person is getting a refund, it could take up to 30 days for your passes refund to show up. So there's no Emerald City for right now. So they're gonna move it to summer, and I'll let you guys know if I go to it, and once again if I try to get some stuff signed. But it's frustrating, but I understand the concern, and I was kind of worried anyway, because like even though it's not really, they haven't had any deaths for like people on the younger side of things. Like I still have people in my life who are like kids, which it's the kids too, it's not really getting them, but people who have compromised immune systems and elderly, like I do have those type of people in my life. So even though me personally, I might be able to handle a certain amount of exposure, I don't want to carry it to someone who is a lot more compromised in certain things. So, but I've been doing my best. I've been taking vitamin C, is really good for boosting your immune system, so that mixed with hand washing. So, but yeah, that's it for right now. I know this is kind of a more serious, scary sort of thing to talk about, but so just wanted to let you know that, since that's kind of a segue with this book here. So, but that's all for now. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see. And as always, you guys have a super slumber. Thanks. Bye.